Hey Canucks fans, the Canucks are not necessarily in a cap crunch right now, but they could very well be in 2 years from now. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCBC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Thursday, August the 29th. I love the fact that Harman is writing for The Athletic full time. Not only because, well, actually a few reasons. A, he's an excellent writer. There's a reason why he's called the boy genius. B, it's been giving us some really good content on The Athletic when there's not a lot of other Vancouver Canucks content out there. So great content throughout the off-season. And C, it actually gives me some content for my vlog here because I do read everything he puts out, especially the morning it comes out. And it's always thoughtful, so it gives me a chance to think about what he says and then also give my, give my reflections here. And this morning's no different. This morning, Harman put up an article talking about the salary cap and the crunch, the perceived crunch, the constraints, and the ramifications for not just this season, but the next 2 seasons, given that 2 seasons from now, Pettersson and Hughes' ELCs, their entry-level contracts will expire. They're 3 years each. They've obviously each played a year, burned a year off of that. So 2 summers from now, we're going to have to negotiate new contracts with them. And it's a very relevant topic because we're always worried, well, not always worried, but we know that Brock Boeser's still outstanding, maybe a small contract for Nikolai Goldobin, and that's how Harman kind of sets the stage for his article. So he, like myself and like others, I'm not man genius, he's boy genius, but I've been saying the same thing. We're not worried so much about this year. We know that the Canucks have about 5.8 right now as it is, and you can still shed another basically $1 million and change for every veteran that you put down in Utica. So Harman used an example of imagine Tim Schaller and Louis Eriksson starting Utica, for instance. That's another $2.1 million. So now we have just over $8 million to sign both Brock Boeser and Nikolai Goldobin. And if you break that down as 7 and 1 or 7.2 and 800 or whatever it is, and that's just a very, very simple example of how the Canucks. Jim Benning and the crew don't seem to be too worried. They know they have the money to sign Brock Boeser and Nikolai Goldobin. Obviously, Boeser would be the priority of the two. So let's not worry so much about this year, what's going to happen in the next 2 months, because we're confident that things will happen. Also, you still have Anton Roussel's LTIR. You can put him on the LTIR and gain a bit more cap space that way. So there's room. There's room to sign Boeser and Goldobin. But what's interesting is what Harman paints for the next 2 seasons. Next year, of course, where you still have Alex Edler's contract on the books. So next year, it's the 2 big ticket items on the blue line will be Edler and Myers at $6 million each. And then up front, you have Boeser with his $7 million or so. You have Horvat with his 5.5. You have Miller with his 2.5 or 5.3, whatever it is. And then, of course, Louis Eriksson with his 6 still. So you have at least 4 guys making over $5 million up front, and then 2 guys on the blue line. And then Harman makes the point that any bonuses that Pettersson and Hughes make this year can be deferred to next year's salary cap if there's no room under this year's cap. So and that bonuses can be up to almost $4 million. I think 3.7 was the number Harman gave. So whether the Canucks use the cap for this year, if they have room, depending on what happens with all their guys, or next season, that's another small but important factor to consider. But where it gets interesting is the season after that, 2 seasons from now, where Pettersson's going to need a new deal and Harman just uses he uses $12.5 million as his comparable, just for a conversation starter. And then Quinn Hughes, when he need a new contract, he uses 7.2 for that. And then up front, you still have JT Miller, Louis Eriksson, it will be his last year's contract, thank goodness, and Bo Horvat, all making north of $5 million, then Brock Boeser, and now Elias Pettersson. So that's 5 forwards that are going to make $5 million or more 2 seasons from now. 3 seasons from now, I should say. Similarly, on the blue line, you will have Alex Edler will be off the books, but you'll still have Tyler Myers and then Quinn Hughes there. And then basically, Harman makes the point that you add it all up, you have 16, of course, and then there's guys like Virtanen and maybe, presuming guys like Stetcher that are still with the team. So he projects that the Canucks will have $16 million to sign 10 players. That's not that much. That's only $1.6 million a player if you use an average. Of course, a lot of things have to happen, change before then, and we're extrapolating, we're guessing, whatever it may be. Who knows what kind of signings, drafting, free agency, and of course, entry level guys will those are the best contracts. So in 2 years, maybe Hoglander's on his second year already, or his first year, and Podkolzin's on his first year, and Jet Wu's on his first year. So those guys are going to make 800, 900 grand a year. So obviously that helps bring on the short side of the 1.6 million. But of course, you're going to need some veterans, some experienced players as well. So I think that's a really interesting. It's a great article by Harman as always, and I'll put a link to it. You have to be a subscriber to The Athletic to read it, but I'll put a link regardless in the description down below, or in the pinned comment. I can't remember. What do you guys think better? Do you like it when I put a link in the description, by the way, or in the pinned comment? It's almost the same thing. They appear like right above each other, but just something I've been toying around with. But more importantly, I'll put Harman's article in there somewhere. So again, I'm not so worried about this year, but looking at the ramifications of next year, and more importantly, the year after that. And remember, we got to figure out who are we going to re-sign. Jacob Markstrom. There's another big ticket item, so that's going to be something to think about. Troy Stecher will be up for a deal. There'll be other guys that we need to think about. Jacob Vertanen will need a new deal. Guys that they're not going to break the bank, but certainly you have to consider them as north of $1.6 million per year when we get to that in a couple of years from now. So Canucks fans, tell me what you think. Are you worried? Maybe I glossed over too quickly. Are you worried about this season? Are you worried about Brock Besser not being signed? Are you worried that the $8 million total won't be enough? Are you worried? I guess you're not worried if the Canucks try and demote Schaller or Eriksson, that they get picked up. We'd be happy. So that's a true number, though. If they do clear waivers as expected and make it down to Utica, you do save $1 million per guy. So maybe that's a realistic number that we can look at. So are you worried about this season? Are you worried about next season, where at least we still have the last year of Pettersson and Hughes on their ELCs, but you still have Alex Edler's contract on there, and then of course Myers, Miller, Horvat, Besser, like I said. And more importantly, are you more worried about 2 seasons from now, when it's new contracts for Hughes and Pettersson? For me, I'm of the belief that, and I'm not being idealistic, I'm not being unrealistic, I'm not being blindly optimistic, but these things tend to have a way of working themselves out. Whether it's finding, like I said, good deals on ELCs, whether it's getting rid of guys or jettison guys that you didn't expect that you could get rid of, or some combination of a bunch of other things. I don't worry, and I'm not being naive and say, oh, let's worry about it in 2 years from now. No, Harman's point was you need to start planning for those kind of things now, right? Whether it's bonuses or cap recapture or whatever it may be. But I think that's the one thing I want to get to. What I want to do is invite you to check out Harman's article today. It's excellent. And then let's start thinking about it. Not necessarily this season, maybe a little bit next season, but certainly 2 seasons from now, because our 2 studs, Pettersson and Hughes, will be needing new contracts at that time. So Canucks fans, leave a comment below. Make sure you read Harman's article. And based on what I said here, what are you worried about? Are you not worried? What are you excited about? If you want to dare put a prediction in for Besser's contract and or Hughes and Pettersson's contract, why not? Let's just create some discussion below. I don't always get a chance to reply, but I certainly read every single comment. So thank you for taking the time to do so. So leave a comment below. I'll try my best to read, react, and reply. Like this video if you'd like to. Subscribe if you'd like to. And enjoy the rest of the day. God bless. Go Canucks go.